and so much more.
And so much more.
So, Andy, there's this thing, and it's called Messages from Water.
Oh no! You did research yesterday. You would not be proven wrong. I will not be proven wrong on this show.
No, I'm trying to get Cass Michelin to delete this part. So, good afternoon. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, and myself and Andy Cheadle are going to be speaking with Lora Cheadle.
Lora Cheadle.
From lawyer to burlesque. And we're going to do that and so much more on
A Wonderful
Chaos.
Yes, it is. Bambos.
Good afternoon, Mr. Shalev.
Afternoon to you.
You took a walk with my ex. What's going on?
I spent the whole day with your ex today.
Should I be worried?
You should be worried.
I love it.
Yes. Speaking of exes, we have a burlesque show on today. I wish we got a burlesque show. We just get to discuss the subject. We can discuss what a burlesque
I think we should start dressing the part. Like when we have the theme lawyer and burlesque, you should be a lawyer, I should be a burlesque.
I would agree. Yeah. I was going to say that I'm certainly not going to be the burlesque at this moment. Give me a few more weeks.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I'm not even going to go what happened last night.
You can share. Hey, you're free to share.
We did a photo shoot together. Andy set up this beautiful table, a little bit.
It was a Rembrandt shot. We had a bouquet of flowers.
And
it was
all
gorgeous.
These ornaments.
And then I set it up like a still life.
Yeah.
That would be in the Rijksmuseum.
With a dark background, and we lit it, and all the colors were popping up. And then something was missing. And all of a sudden, I have a naked Andy in front of me, like,
yes,
down to the bone. It wasn't the first time.
Nor did you think that would happen. I don't think. I just said, this is like a setting. What is the most absurd contrast? And I thought, if I stand naked,
and we had an Andy naked with something covering the good parts.
Yes,
looking at his hands.
That was that.
So that will be printed and probably shared with.
Yeah, if Ronnie, my wife, allows it, of course, because she had different thoughts after I showed her the pictures.
I know. I spoke to her. She said, I was not.
She was not impressed.
No.
She's like, Andy, you may not have a reputation to uphold, but I still do. And keep in mind, the less of your reputation, the more it taints my reputation. That was the discussion we had last night.
I agree.
I agree. I said, you just don't want this chest out in the world. You don't know what that'll do to women.
I held my breath.
Now, Lora Cheadle.
I just want to bring her on, actually.
I don't want to bring her on. I want to discuss a little bit about this before we bring her on.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So tell us a little bit about Lora.
The thing that I love about anyone who has a life that shifts into another life is like there's a pre and there's a post. Like there's an AD, a BC and an AD, a before Christ and an after death moment, right?
And especially her life. Being a lawyer, you can imagine that's a secure future.
It's everything, I mean, I think I told you both of my brothers are lawyers, and when I turned, I don't know what it was, like 35 or 40, after I had done my work and had lived my life, my dad took me to dinner and said, listen, if you still want to be a lawyer, I'm ready to pay for your education. So like that's how bad it can be when the idea is this is what you're supposed to be from society and family,
as opposed to fooling around like you were doing.
Yeah. Enjoying my life, as it were. But with Lora having done that, she did that for 10 years. And then she says, hey, I'm over this. So it would be what I find is fantastic in life is when an individual who, after spending all this time and energy in anything in their lives, says, hey, this isn't serving me anymore. And then what is my calling? And then to find something which is so contrary to what you were doing before, there's something just gorgeous in that. She wrote a book that was called Flaunt, and with the subtitle "Drop Your Cover and Reveal Your Smart, Sexy, Spiritual Self." And she released that in 2019.
And she only started doing this when she was 44, by the way.
Yeah.
She started dancing it. That's incredible.
Isn't that?
But think about it. Being a lawyer, it's really, you need to have a very strong masculine trait there, right?
Yeah, you do.
And
yeah,
I am, to what degree it's even a conscious, clean masculine trait. It's a masculine trait, and all of a sudden, like as I hear you speak about her, I'm thinking, oh wow, on her journey, she must have started to feel the tension of her femininity being squeezed out of her.
Yeah, for sure.
And all of a sudden, like, fuck this.
Give me a dance floor and a pole, and I'm gonna make something of myself.
I'm gonna jump into my full femininity. And
yes,
woof.
Yes, it's totally that. And
well, actually, I wouldn't want you to agree. Maybe.
So with that, I think it would be great to bring Lora on, if you approve. You're looking at the message. Hello, Lora.
Hey, so good to be on finally.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
After having watched some of our shows, I thank you even more because you know what you were coming into.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
So, Bambos, where do you want to begin our journey? Huh?
Did anything we say was off?
Yeah.
No, everything was really good. The only thing I was thinking is I think I've really had 3 lives instead of just 2. And I love that you went there from the masculine to the feminine, because so right on, and so many people miss that. So A+ there.
Yeah. And did you feel like we found a lot on our show, especially people that have come out of the church? Like we have a lot of these people that have come out of the church on our show. Why? I don't know. They're just our viewers. But when they've come out, there's been a strong kind of a flip to the strong, like furthest feminine or masculine opposite.
So from sacred, I love Jesus, to I'm a whore.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no gradual over. It's like, you've taken 20 years of my life. Now I'm taking them back. So to some degree, was burlesque in that way sort of a really strong kick out of, or was it a progressive thing for you?
It was more progressive. I grew up dancing. I have always been a dancer. I was a pom-pom dancer in college and high school, and a ballet dancer before that. So dancing has always been a part of me. And what was interesting is I have never really seen dancing as sexual. Yes, it can be sensual, but it's not sexual. So for me to move into burlesque has got a lot of humor. It's a parody. It pokes fun at the status quo. I love that kind of thinking. I love that kind of humor. And to me, it's dance. And I think it's very ironic that my whole life I was judged for my body. As a cheerleader, as a pom. Oh my God, she's such a slut. She's in a skirt. Well, wait, why am I a slut? Because I'm dancing this way. Why am I a slut? Because I'm moving this way. Why am I a slut? Because I'm flirting. And that was what I really enjoyed playing with, was kind of that parody and that stereotype around that.
There's something really sweet in what you're getting at, because in some ways you would dress a certain way, people would project on you, and then not you, but one would have to defend it, is that I'm not that.
Yes.
And in some weird way, what you're saying is, I said, I'm all that and a lot more, like back the fuck off.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what it was, with the whole lawyer persona too. I tell this story, and it's in my book, and I've told, it's so egregious. My very first case, I won my very first case as a lawyer. I was a student attorney, and I was really conscientious, and I was really young and cute. I happened to be cute. And I went in. I know, dang it, right? I went in, I won my case, and I shouldn't have won the case. And I really out-lawyered opposing counsel. I out-researched them. I out-lawyered them. I did all of this. After the case, the judge came to me and he said, "How dare you?" And I'm like, "How dare I win? What?" And he said, "You have no future. You made opposing counsel look horrible. If I were you, I would wear my hair up, and your legs are really nice. You need to start wearing pants and not skirts. It's a complete distraction." Wow.
Oof. Oof.
And it was like, yes, I can look like this. I can look a lot more like this too. And I can kick your ass all over the place in court. And I can be fun and flirty and silly too. How dare you stop me?
Mm. Yeah, that must have just been like the weirdest sort of how do you even begin to react to something like that?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a litigator. I was going to practice in this court system forever. Am I supposed to stand up for myself and badmouth a judge and be blackballed?
Yeah.
And then who do I tell? What am I supposed to do with that? So I did nothing and that felt awful.
Yeah.
But what are you supposed to do? That's that classic lose-lose situation.
Yeah. Because I mean, and the thing that happened, of course, in time was there was a Me Too movement where people started to say, hey, if it happened to you, it must have happened to 10 other people. So just by naming the name, you basically got a lot of other people to say, hey, this individual has a lot of egregious behavior. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's a great thing that also happened from that whole thing. Wow.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, did you experience that a lot as a lawyer? Or was that kind of a one-off situation?
That was a one-off situation. I experienced a lot of the normal stuff that women experience. Can you bring me coffee? I'm not the secretary. Behavior like that, but nothing that egregious.
Yeah, I've had that in meetings even more recently, and it makes me so uncomfortable.
Be specific.
So I was in a meeting. I don't want to get into customer names, otherwise that would be. But I was in a meeting with a group of individuals that were all equal in status in that room, and then there was this sort of expectation that the woman was the one that was going to serve me as the guest to that meeting. Like as if like I'm looking like on what planet are we living on? Like haven't we progressed in our? But that was just an implicit expectation based on societal norms that had not been reevaluated. They hadn't done their equity and inclusion class then yet. Yeah,
It really surprised me when you first started speaking and you just brought the word. You made a statement. Dance isn't sexual; it's sensual. But what made you use the word sexual? Because I feel confused.
To me, when something is sexual, it is seeking sex. It's wanting sex. It's I am going to the bar and I want to have sex tonight and I'm going to be sexual towards you because I want to pick you up and I want you to come home with me. Whereas sensual is I'm experiencing my body. I'm experiencing play and the mental thrill of flirtation. And I enjoy how pretty I look. And I work hard for my body and I love it. And I want to show and dance and play. And I think your body is awesome too. And I want you to get into your sensations and feelings. And then at the end of the night, bye, that was a great night.
Like when I think about the younger the in school version of you were like naturally a manifestation of this feminine strong river that wanted to express her fullness life, and people were feeling very uncomfortable that they had to put a label on it to understand it in a way, kind of push it down, like let's dam the river, it's flowing too hard.
Yeah. Well
And-
said.
and it really it turns my stomach when I tune into that. And you had to, you were young, like who do you talk to, who are the people in your life that could give you guidance that it's okay to be you? Like how did you navigate all this?
It's hard. It's hard. How did I navigate it? Fumbled it along. Because it's not something I think parents are more enlightened now, but still it's really hard, I think, to have your beautiful, sweet, innocent 16-year-old daughter looking a certain way because we still have that belief in our society too that you will get raped if you look like that.
How did you address it? Because you were feeling this as a 16-year-old, or do you think you grew into it? So did you feel like Bambos just described, you were I'm a sexual being or sensual being, however you want to phrase it there. And then I can't express it because I see society isn't able to. Is that how you felt at that age?
I felt it pretty young. The first time I really remember was when I was a freshman in high school, was just being me and being bouncy and fun and flirty. And, again, as a dancer, it's like you pose and you bend over and you flip your hair because it's fun and it's funny. And I had a teacher really shut me down hard. And it was his reaction, I think, that first made me go, whoa, what is this? And why would you judge me? This is your problem. If you think I'm too sexy, it's your problem. If you think I'm distracting, that's your focus problem. It is not my bending around and flipping my hair in a short skirt problem.
Wow. Wow.
And it was very confusing, because I was being told the opposite, but inside I'm like, that's not my problem. The way you judge me is your problem, not mine.
So this was something that you, from an early age, you really were feeling, hey, I'm okay with my body. I enjoy it. And how did it then say evolve through the years? Because you get through high school, you get into college, you've decided to be, you're still, do you feel like there was a time when you weren't fully allowing yourself to dress and be the person that you felt yourself to be? Or were you pretty much always that way, waiting for the world to catch up with you?
I know I absolutely shut myself down, off and on at different points because it hurts. All of a sudden there's gossip and there's rumors and it hurts. So, you shut yourself down for a while. When I went to law school, I really stepped into that persona. I felt like I needed to. And I mean,
which persona?
The lawyer persona.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Not as much as some people would think, but for me, it was a big shift. The conservative business suits, the baggy clothes, I like big fun jewelry. I like, blingy things, toned all that down. And then same thing, practicing law. I needed to be calm. I needed to be serious. My voice goes all over the place when I'm enthusiastic. And to be on a client call, I would try to tone that down. I would try to not smile. I would try to not laugh. I would try. Yeah. At one point, I was told, don't be friends with the secretaries. It makes you look bad. Well, what? I'm supposed to be an asshole to the secretaries? I like them. I'm nice to people.
So how did toning yourself down impact you, your health, your well-being? Because in my life, whenever I tone myself down, it's pretty much a depression or a contraction.
Absolutely. It made me not love practicing law. I loved the mental aspect. I loved the research. I loved the argument and constructing arguments. I hated being serious all day. I hated being that constricted. And that was part of the reason, when you said earlier, was it just a flip or was it a journey? It was more of a journey. When I had my second child, I left. And I stayed home. I started doing some compliance work, more part-time. But it was like, I've got to break out of this because now I've got the mothering part of me, the wife and mom part of me, and my fun, flirty part of me, and my lawyer part. And I just can't be bouncing around between all of these pieces. And I am so done shutting myself down. I need to try to do something different.
Wow.
How old are you? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, but moving into that mother role, you're shut down in another way too. And I didn't realize that. And I didn't see that coming. And I think that's where I suffocated myself actually the most, was in my role as a stay-at-home wife and mom.
Wow. How many kids? You have 2 kids?
I've got 2 kids.
And how old are they now?
21 and 23.
I've got so many questions about that, but I'm going to stop a moment. I watched a show last night. I've watched it 2 nights in a row, and it's killing me emotionally. It's called This Is Us, I believe. I don't know if you've heard or seen it. And Bambos doesn't watch shows, and he hates when I reference them.
Series.
a series.
I don't hate.
He dislikes
I
it.
dislike it. No, I'm kidding. Actually,
The
just for the record,
yes.
I have no feelings about it.
Okay.
If that's how you want to put your
If
time,
you want to play it that way, that's fine, Bambos. We'll talk about it after the show. It is one of the most painful shows for me to watch. I told Ronnie we can't watch it anymore at night because it makes me want to cry with a deep childhood pain when I see the anguish. And one of the hardest scenes for me to watch last night was when the wife had her triplets, and then she was a musician who gave up her music practice, and then she didn't live the life that she had envisioned for herself. And then the opportunities came to her much later, but she now had these 3 kids. And one of the hardest scenes to watch was when she got in this massive fight with her husband because the husband was carrying the load that she now wanted to let go of so that she could live or relive a dream that she left behind. And the argument was one of these raw, palpable, where you can see how honest it really is. And as you spoke, it reminded me of that thing that was very hard to watch last night.
Yeah. It is hard because I love my kids more than anything in the universe. I will do anything for them. I will always be there for them. You know, my husband's job was paying the bills. Of course, I'm going to support him. I'm going to do everything. But, you know, after 20 years of that, what about me? What about me?
We've had some pretty strong women on our show last week, and I see it's continuing into this week. And I noticed throughout the different conversations that we had, my right hand it's just tapping on my leg like a tick. And I'm just looking, I'm like, wow, it's really an outlet, or else I'm gonna. So your husband, like, how has that dynamic been in? Let me see what my question will be. In general, I'm a photographer, and when I work with women, especially in their 40s plus, a lot of the times they forget what it means to be a woman, and through the shoot, like they kind of take them through a journey where they start to connect, and kind of the body remembers what that might even look like again. One of the saddest stories I had was my husband hasn't touched me for 2 years. I'm a mother of 3 kids, and now I'm doing this photo shoot. I didn't lose the weight I have, like all that pressure. And I'm wondering how did motherhood, being a wife, a woman, like those dynamics, where were you, and how did you balance them out, if, or even step out of it?
I think there is more pressure as a wife and a mother to be chaste, to be pure, to be, you know, that motherhood and apple pie. And in fairness, as I'm completely exhausted and had, you know, baby weight on, it's easy to shut that part of yourself down simply because you're in survival mode. And I've got 2 kids under 2. This is really challenging. But that's always, I'm a flirty, playful, fun person. And, you know, going back to being a dancer, I love my body because I love moving and I love playing and I love doing all of that. So I had, I believe, more of an ability to balance that than many people do. That said, I can say I love my body because it feels so good to move, but I would also look at myself in the mirror and be like, good Lord, that's disgusting. You know, because I have that perfect image in my head. And then if you can't be perfect, why even show up at all? Because your worth is in your body, you know?
How did you get over that?
Am I over it yet?
Well, let's say, when I say over it, how do you day after day feel comfortable going on a stage when, if you had to compare yourself with your 16-year-old body, you could always say you're out of shape?
Totally.
So how do you make peace with the fact that this is who I am and this is how I'm showing up?
For me, it's around enjoying life. I can get up on stage and I can dance and I can feel that rush of joy and be 5 pounds overweight. Or I can be like, oh, I can't do this show this month and I can miss out. And I am done missing out and I am over missing out. Just this past week, I was in Florida with a girlfriend, and we always do like these fun photo shoots with each other, you know, on the beach, and we're running around. And what I loved about those photos is there's 5 pounds on me right now that I wish I didn't have on me. And those photos are still amazing. And I had so much fun. And I still go back through them and I see the fold at my waist. And I laugh because it's so fun. And the day was so wonderful and it's so enjoyable. So for me, it's that fun aspect. I can live or I can stop living. And I choose to live.
One is I'm in my body or in my head.
Yeah, I'm in my body or my head. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a child, 21 and 23 years old. They see mom up on the stage. I doubt that they've gotten a consciousness of what the difference between sexuality and sensuality is. I'm taking an assumption. Could be. You've done a good job of explaining it to them, because they're still, all their hormones are raging, and they're like, anyone on the stage that's a woman is someone that at least I feel sexually attracted to. So how do they reconcile it? How do you reconcile it with them? Or what's the issues that may or may not come up?
I actually think they're healthier because of it. Because when I started dancing with burlesque, you make your own costumes. So I'll have thongs and pasties and corsets on the kitchen counter because I'm gluing rhinestones and sewing on sequins. So they come home and I'm mom. I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm kind, and I'm rhinestoning pasties. What's that? Well, this is for my performance, blah, blah, blah. Oh, cool. It doesn't change their perception of who I am. Suddenly, I do not become Mrs. Robinson and I'm trying to seduce my kids. I'm cooking, I'm baking, I'm cleaning, I'm rhinestoning, you know, in my sweats with my hair up and my glasses from the, you know, early 90s on. I'm still me.
But will they come to see a show?
It's just mom. Those are the things that were on the counter. That's the dancing. No. It's me. It's me doing something different. It's me playing a role. It's a part of me. They're not fazed by any of it. You know how some teenage boys are like, I saw somebody's thong.
Yeah.
They see somebody's thong.
Yeah. No, but they would actually go to watch you perform, and that's all comfortable. There's no that mom is performing, we'll go watch her. Would that be that's also?
They have, in fairness, my youngest turned 21 in the middle of COVID. So I have not had any live shows. So they have not seen live shows. Okay. They have seen videos. They have seen me rehearse. And it's, you know, they come down. I'm in my studio rehearsing. It's like, hey, we need this. Oh, okay, great. Let me grab this. Da da da. It's normal.
Yeah, it's normal. I got that. Yeah.
It sounds like your performances are very playful, almost like a comedy theater.
I was thinking of when she spoke. I wrote down the message because we had our trans. What is the show where the man was dressing as the female and doing her what is the
drag?
The drag act. So we had our drag queen on, and what was very depressing for me was the drag queen didn't tease the hell out of us, because it reminded me of the similar humor you were talking about earlier on. Is that the type of humor that you were actually saying that you were playing with on the show? Is that similar?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of my routines, like I've got, you know, the song X's and O's, Elle King. It's a fun song about X's and O's. So you'll have to listen to it. It's a fun one. Okay. I have a giant tic-tac-toe board, and behind me, and as I strip, I find these X's or O's and I play tic-tac-toe against myself. So then I'm really shocked. Look what I found in my bra. It's an O, you know, and then I take off my panties and I like reach down and I pull out, you know, an X and I put that on the board. It's teasing. It's playing with the lyrics. I've got one song where it's an 80s vacation, the Go-Go's song. And I have one of those ridiculously huge pool noodles that I've blinged out. And I ride the pool noodle and I sing into the pool noodle, you know, and it's playing with all these concepts of this is sexy, this is funny, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I've got my political commentary routine. I had shared a picture earlier. That's my Me Too routine. And that is my most requested routine because people cry when they see it.
Yeah.
So I like to say something. I really like to say something with my routines.
And with your Me Too routine, what is the essence of, outside of the fact we know what the Me Too movement is, what is the essence of that routine? What are you highlighting in it?
It's to the song, the Disturbed version of Sound of Silence. And I wear a gag in the routine and I take everything off first except the gag. And the essence is women can do anything now. We can be, this, we can woohoo, I can get this job, I can go to this school, I can even show my body, I can be, a slut if I choose, I can be, a mom if I choose. But when it comes to really hearing a woman's voice, we still silence that.
Yeah.
When it still comes to hearing a woman's voice, we still silence that.
Yeah.
Wow.
We saw that during the Supreme Court, whatever the, I don't know what that process was called, but yeah.
Yeah.
How are you
Confirmation.
How are you feeling, by the way?
Good.
You talked about flirting and having fun. Now you get to have fun, but men will get sexually excited. So what happens, or how does the situation evolve, or how have you seen problems emerge in your life by you being fully you and men not being able to take care of themselves? We know the instance in law, but did you find that throughout your life that's been an issue that's kind of come up where men haven't understood the boundary between me being me and being flirty and you keeping, to yourself with whatever that?
Fortunately, I have not had an issue with that. Fortunately, I don't know if it's, my communication around it, that this is fun and this is flirting. Because I have had people say, "Oh my God, this is this is a lot, and you're such a good tease, and you're such a good flirt, and I really enjoyed that. But now I'm going to go home and be really amped up." And I'll be like, "Well, enjoy yourself, and I bet you know how to take care of that."
Yeah.
So I have never had a negative.
So you're celebrating. You're celebrate as well. You should, because if someone's amped up, that's not necessarily something we should even be judging. We should enjoy that. That's the state they're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I've even flirted around like, well, why isn't this amping you up? And why, what's wrong? What else can I do? Should I unbutton this a little bit lower? Well, what if I pull up? Does this help? I'd rather lean into that.
Nice. I love it. How is it for your husband? I'm assuming you're still married.
Uh-huh.
That was the revealing answer. You don't need to say another word. That was fun. Okay, let's go into the next.
No, that's like a whole. There's a lot there.
Yeah, can we get into that?
Yes, we absolutely can. Ready for a bombshell?
Yes. Okay.
My husband loved my hobby. He loved it. He supported it. He would travel with me. He's, the pictures, the photo stuff. When I said last week I was in Florida with a girlfriend, my husband was there too. He's the photographer. He had so much fun with my routine, with my playfulness, with my sensuality. And right before our 23rd anniversary, right as my youngest was graduating from high school, I found out that my husband had been cheating on me for 15 years with 5 different women. And it was hell. It was the absolute most gut-wrenching, life-shattering experience I have ever been through, in part because I thought we had a great relationship. I was always flirty. We were always playful. We had, the great sex life with the great traveling, totally connected. Everything is wonderful. And I'm the stay-at-home wife supporting him. And I'm doing all of this stuff. And then to find that out was I didn't know what was real. I couldn't look back on my life and make sense of anything.
That
And
must have been overwhelming. Because you find out
so
that there's 5 different individuals who are part of your life that you have never known about for
not even a
Mm.
suspicion ever.
Ah.
Ever. I mean, people say, how can you not know? Nothing. I had no inkling because I truly thought we had such a fun, flirty life.
Mm.
It really touches me that you are fully transparent, and
Yeah.
I can imagine that was one of the most difficult things to hear yourself share on a live podcast.
Mm.
And I feel a lot of care right now,
Yeah.
and I don't want
you.
to take
Thank
that
you,
for
thank you.
granted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It hurts.
Yeah. It does hurt.
It was awful. I have never truly wanted to die, and I really just didn't want to feel anymore.
There's something about betrayal that I think runs so deep. It's unlike a lot of the other things that one has to forgive in another. Because it's almost like I can forgive, but I can't forget. In some weird way, that's the way it's like I can't pretend that this didn't happen. So
Mm-mm.
how is it
Wow.
now for you in your relationship? You're still together, or is that
Surprisingly, yes. Surprisingly, we have an amazing relationship now. People cheat for different reasons, but you always cheat for a reason that is within you. You truly don't cheat because of something that the other person did. You cheat because of a brokenness in you, a pain in you, a fear in you. And my husband was an abused child. He was in foster, a foster system for a while. He had a lot of pain and a lot of that attachment problems. And it's interesting because he had that fear when things got too good that he was going to lose it. So a lot of his cheating revolved around, this is amazing. We're having this incredible time. I've got this great wife. I've got these great kids. I've got this great family, and I'm going to lose it. And I don't want to feel that pain. So I'm going to reach out and I'm going to find somebody else because then I'll have a backup and then it won't hurt so bad when she leaves.
There's something beautiful that I'm witnessing as you speak, and your ability to see beyond the word cheat as opposed to the motherfucker cheated on me, and actually all I hear is love and compassion. And
But you moved through the motherfucker cheated on me.
yeah, I
Like,
can imagine.
how long did the motherfucker cheat on you mind linger before you could kind of move through that?
It still pops up sometimes, not gonna lie. There's still moments when you're like, God damn you. I just, done.
And actually, anyone would project that you're the one that would cheat.
Yeah.
Right. Hello. Isn't that so?
The
And
woman
that
that's
was
sensual. And
Yeah. That's
right. Yeah. And people would be like, well, yeah. Oh, I know. And the judgment around that was a piece where I was kind of like, I don't even know if I want to tell people because then I don't want the judgment around, oh, well, your behavior drove him to do that. And what if you didn't? Are you sure you didn't? And then I'm like, fuck it all. Here's the story. Do with it what you will,
Yeah.
That's incredible what you just said.
Yeah. And it doesn't surprise
because
me.
of the way you live, you'd get the finger.
Yeah.
Yes. I know, right?
Exactly. You'd be pointed at as the one who created it. If you just stayed a stay-at-home mom and took care of the house, this wouldn't have happened.
It would have been fine.
Be a good little woman.
Right. Except for the fact that he started cheating when my kids were 2 and 4.
Yeah.
But people don't see that. People don't know that. And then think about the rhetoric around cheating. What's wrong with you? Were you frigid? Were you too focused on the kids? What's wrong with you? Well, in fact, nothing. And even if there had been something wrong with me, why is cheating a response? Why isn't communication a response?
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am curious if you want to go there. How did you find out about this? Did he come to you, or did you see something? Like what?
One
It
of the
was
5 women.
it was a series. I mean, with that many women and for that many years, it was a series. You know, so there was
Think about
some
the life.
text.
I'm just sorry. Think about this man's life. He's got 5 liabilities rolling around in every single. He can't drive on the street without potentially hitting a liability. This has got to be one of the worst lives that I could imagine. Oh.
Yeah.
That's attention.
Oh,
If he
yeah.
was scared of losing you, that's attention.
Every single
Huge.
moment. Damn text message comes in and you read the text. I mean, anything could go wrong.
Yes. And it did.
Yeah.
hmm
Wow.
But here's the thing with the text messages coming in or whatever, I had no clue and I have nothing to hide. So I never checked his phone.
Yeah.
I never, why would I? Why would I? I trust, I love, I'm transparent. Why would you trust? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I have a serious question. When is your TEDx talk coming?
Yes. I'm waiting for the TEDx talk.
Hopefully soon.
Like you really come across as someone that can support so many women.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to ask you from this before we came on, you said that you have a group that's called Betrayal Recovery. So I'm assuming that is clearly in connection to this experience. So how did that group come about and what does it actually do? How do you guys service or stay in supportive of one another?
Yeah. What I do, what my whole thing and what got me through this is I help people who have gone through betrayal powerfully reclaim their sexy and create their own happily ever after. And what is important about that and what is different about that is betrayal is so damaging, and I compare it to burlesque. It's you're ripping the clothes off. You're ripping the covering off. You're ripping all protection off, and you were literally left standing exposed, totally naked. And what are you going to do with that? Are you going to cover and cry? Are you going to feel all of this shame? Are you going to quit? Or are you going to dance naked? Because there's a lot of beauty in what you can create once it's all gone.
Yeah.
And most of us have never been in a place where literally it's all gone and we can create everything. Most of us are always saying, I should do this, and I've got loans to pay it off, and somebody is expecting this, and I've got. And to be that exposed, that naked is terrifying, but it's also really powerful. And that is my whole thing on the infidelity recovery and working with people. It's to me, embracing your sexy is moving into what attracts you and what arouses you. Not in a sexual way, but in a sensual way. Do you like touch? Do you like smell? What food are you attracted to? What conversation?
Most people don't know. If you ask them, like I had a question, what can I do to make you feel more like a woman? And I noticed that it's difficult for someone to answer that question.
Yes.
And not even that. There might even be like, oh, like I don't need anything.
Yes. Yes.
And
that's exactly what the support is around. Figuring out who you are and what do you want, not what you're supposed to do, not what your husband wants. What do you want? And that's a hard question to answer.
Is your group only for women or is it like a mix?
Okay. It's a mix.
Oh, nice.
And both men and women share freely, hey, this happened to me.
Do they ever start to find a love connection in the two people that have been betrayed?
You know, I don't want to go there.
That was a trick question.
I don't want to go there.
This man, big imagination, big.
I just love. My mom called me the shit stirrer, and it's just because there are these little voices in the back of my head that are just like talking, and then the better angels would say, Andy, don't let those voices come out of your mouth. But they do.
But no, don't shut yourself down, sweetie.
Yeah, I won't shut myself. I'm not going to shut myself down. I was taken off. I was taken off of the intercom in high school because I think I was just having way too much fun, and the dean his car broke down and he took the bus to the school. And it was kind of humiliating to take a bus anytime in Los Angeles just because it's not the nicest of bus trips. And I said, don't forget to ask the dean how the bus trip was on the way to the school today. And he said, that's the last time you're going on there. And that was it.
Oh man.
Boy. It was interesting because yesterday we said, as you heard before we came online, Bambos and I were doing a Rembrandt shoot, and then I came in naked. And,
I love that.
And it was funny because, like, Rembrandt, Bambos has discussed with me that he's trying to do full masculine and a feminine photo shoot where somebody fully embodies the femininity, the masculinity that they're not feeling at peace within themselves. And he does that with a team of people around him that set up the shoot, create a safe space, create sort of a slow embodiment of what feels comfortable to show and how does that represent itself. Almost like an anchor. You can look at that picture and say, that's who I am when I'm in that state. So
Yes.
When we did the Rembrandt, I thought, okay, there's this incredible setting, which is surreal because we put so many objects on this table, that all eclectic objects that you wouldn't expect, that for me, the natural thing was take my clothes off and let's stand and get a picture where you actually add that.
I do want to say it's not the first time I've seen Andy naked. We've also photographed him with two of his business partners in the past. He says, do whatever you want. I had him lying on a table with high socks, shoes, polka dot boxer shorts, and nothing on top.
And the two business people
looking at him. And we even had a dog, like a sculpture of a dog in his crotch. He was reading the Bible, like a thick Bible. And he was like,
and those two who thought they had no inhibition said to me they gained a newfound respect for me. Now, whether that was true or not, I don't know. But I guess my point in telling this story was getting to a bigger point, was that in some way, if I don't think I'm able to freely go naked at any given moment in time, as if I've got something to protect, then I feel there's something in me that's inhibited, as if there's something that I have to represent so that another person feels comfortable or more relaxed.
I call it self-love.
Yeah. And I've lost 7 kilos in the last 2 months, and I'd rather have the photo shoot when I lose the next 7, but it didn't matter.
How many kilos are you?
I'm at 91 kilos right now.
One more kilo is going to shave the beard.
My wife will be very happy when I lose, because I said I don't shave this until I hit 90 kilos. But my point was really to say, if I don't feel myself at peace with just being with whatever I'm with this moment. Oh, I know Bambos is doing a photo shoot. This will help him potentially to get people who are interested in that shoot. Let's enjoy this and we'll make fun, and who really cares? And I didn't think about it all that much until I showed my wife, and she said, Andy, what are you doing here? Right. That's when your freedom meets another person's reality field.
Yep.
That is beautifully stated. When your freedom meets another person's reality, or what they're capable of
being comfortable with, right? And let's acknowledge those people. Like, you were a lawyer. You didn't become a lawyer for a reason. You would have stayed a lawyer if you could have dressed in how you wanted to, and you felt sexually empowered, sensually empowered, whatever the words are going to use here. But that would have made you feel at peace staying there, I imagine, or at least more at peace.
And the playfulness. Yes, there are some really serious situations I'm completely capable of being serious, but at the same time, oh my God, if I'm going to work with you for 18 months on a trial, can we have some humor? Can we be a little bit more transparent? Do I always have to be perfect and you always have to? Can we break out of some of those roles? I'm a human, you're a human. Let's just have some fun with it. And that, I think, was so frustrating.
Yeah, I told my wife she has 2 nights a year with me to go to business outings that are with finance people. She gets 2 nights a year, because I don't know if I can pretend any more than that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you do a good job.
Yeah.
He pretended to be a guru for an hour on a show a few weeks ago.
No, I think it's important, because what you're saying is a choice. I was in the business world. I left the business world, and then I re-entered under my own conditions. And part of my own conditions was like, I'm not going to compromise. And part of not compromising was, I remember being in a meeting, they were talking about professional, their business is going, down the tubes. There's issues that aren't being resolved. And they're talking about, let's be professional, and using that as a word to justify the status quo. And so I dropped my pants in the meeting and I said, guys, if this is what you need to succeed and this is what you judge as unprofessional, then let's do this for a while and you'll succeed. But if you keep living this dream that you actually going to not do anything that's going to make you successful because you judge it as successful, then, or as professional, sorry, I can't help you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was corporate and I was in-house and it was like pre-Zoom. So most of my work was done on the phone in an office, and I taught fitness at lunch. So I'd come back at lunch and I'd have my hair in a ponytail and I'd be a little sweaty because I just taught a step class, and sometimes there was pushback. How can you come back not being professional? Does the person on the phone have any clue that my hair is sweaty, that my makeup is not perfect? Wow. It's just small things like that. So I love what you did.
No, I think the world is catching up to that now. I think quality of life wasn't really thought about until more recently, as this industrial complex, as it's sort of coming to the industrial revolution is coming to its inevitable demise. We're starting to think about quality of life issues, which weren't considered in that whole development. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I want to do a photo shoot with you.
We're in Amsterdam.
Yes.
I really want to do that.
And
he's got some nice shots of really random stuff that
I bet.
And I bet you have a lot of nice props.
Yeah.
I do. I do.
The book Flaunt 2019. What makes that you write a book, and sort of how does that start to guide your life in any way? Like what's the thing that said, I'm going to do this book, and what did it make possible, or where you intending to go with it?
The overlays on that are interesting. I wrote at this book for 10 years because it was the methodology that I had worked. When I was staying home with my kids, I started working part-time with a lot of moms who were going through some of the problems, concerns that I was feeling like we were letting our dreams die, wanting to be there for our kids, but also wanting to live our life. So Flaunt is a 5-step methodology. And I started just practicing, experimenting with women. Took me about 10 years to write this book. Because I always thought, that's what I want to do. I want to work with women. I want to do the coaching. I want to do all of this. Then the infidelity hit. And it was so interesting because then I started embodying those 5 steps myself. Yeah. And bam, everything broke free. And that's when I got the book contract. People started reaching out to me. People started asking me to speak. And it was like, to me, so fascinating that I had written these steps before, and it was my own words that helped me come full circle.
Beautiful.
Kind of surreal in a lot of ways, but it was.
To the last week, I started to write a book that I started writing 5 years ago.
Really?
And I wrote the book 5 years ago. And as you said, I was writing at it, but I wasn't embodying the content in that book. So I wrote 2 other books, which were books that I had more access to in myself. Bambos always likes to plug the books. Thank you, Bambos.
Yes.
So those were the 2 books that I wrote because I wasn't yet able to write the book that I was pointing at, but never embodying. And then in the last, it's been, say, I don't know, 10 days, I've written 25 chapters of a book that's basically been in my head, but never on paper. And so now it's been this weird.
I kind of forced him, I think, just over a year ago, to make little videos, and then he had a little private YouTube channel where he would make videos, and I would just watch them, like concepts. And now I realize, now it's actually becoming a book. I don't even
Yeah,
know if
I
you
mean,
still see those videos.
well, I no, I don't even know those videos existed. But I think part of the thing is with Bambos, but I've been mentoring Bambos for a lot of years, so it's a little bit weird when people come on the show because we'll be talking, and sometimes I'll start mentoring, and so people are like, "What the hell's going on here? Like, what is this?" And it's shifted because in the meantime, Bambos has sort of learned so much that I'm now learning in return because it's not a question of who knows what; it's a question of who's holding the space.
Yes.
And that can shift once person can hold space. It's then there is no question of what one can learn. We can all learn at that moment.
Yes.
It's the person's channeling something bigger than all of us. So the thing that that came out of it is that from that, Bambos wanted to do this show, which is how this show came about. This Bambos's desire to actually, in some ways, lovingly showcase some of the stuff I was doing because he said, "Hey, I'm learning so much. Why not we just do this on air?" And then it evolved.
One day after COVID started.
One day, yeah. And you're our 200 and I don't know what number show right
205
now.
and
205.
Wow.
Think about that. Since COVID, 205 shows, just like every day we're here, you know?
That's amazing.
Yeah. But the I guess
every day and so much more.
Sorry, now I get back to the point. The thing I found fascinating is that it took 5 years or a bit more to finally embody it. And what I hear in you is that it seems like whatever happened with your husband actually was the clicking pin for it to just start to flow. So it seems weird, but how long did it really take once you started the project for it to be written? I know the editing takes years, but the writing.
It was fairly quick. I'd say about a year. It was amazing. I found out infidelity, the whole infidelity. We started working on it. My agent called and said, "Wow, there's a couple of publishers that want your book and we're fighting back and forth to get you the best deal." And I'm like, crap, I'm dealing with infidelity, but okay, yes. Bam, got a contract. Bam, you've got 6 months. Bam, now we're in the editing. Bam, the book's out. So
Wow.
it truly, there's that meant to be. I mean, you talk about the flow, the space. Yes.
Wow. That's fantastic. It's so infrequently that things work out the way you just described them.
I know.
It's like you're a unicorn.
I know. In a lot of ways.
Flamingo.
You're a flamingo.
I'm a flamingo.
Yes. What's your favorite outfit that you put on and why?
Well, that kind of depends. Daily outfit or burlesque outfit?
No, burlesque. We don't care. What's the outfit you feel sexiest in? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I love the cages.
Sensual.
Like, yeah. The
and by the way,
like,
I want to ask about this before we go into that question.
Yeah.
When I say sexiest in, I have no loading of that having a negative connotation. Slow down.
No, I get that.
So I want to know from you when I say that how that affects or how it connects to you.
It connects to me fine. It absolutely connects to me fine.
When would it not connect to you?
It would not connect to me if somebody were actually physically threatening me, coming on to me like, "You're so sexy." I mean, if somebody's in my space and I'm feeling threatened, that's pretty much when it's not going to connect with me. I'm truly fine. Yeah. If people saying you look sexy or that's so hot, I'm like, yes, that's awesome. Thanks.
I would have assumed that. Okay. Thank you. Now I want to go back to him. So what was it you saw or you thought?
Oh, I was just also seeing the impact of language since it's fresh from yesterday.
Okay.
I would have asked the question a bit differently. I always see that a woman, when you're not dressing for the audience, you're dressing for yourself, and the audience gets to enjoy you.
Yes.
At least that's how I translate it.
Yes.
Was
absolutely
that from
right.
what you just said?
I wouldn't see it any different. When I say to someone, "What's the dress you feel sexiest in?" Then for me, I associate that with myself as there's things I wear when I feel sexy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, continue.
Is that not what you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good. I don't know. Maybe I see the world differently. Sorry. Continue. These are the things. These are the things we would talk off air usually, but we said screw it. We talk about them on air.
We're gonna talk.
So we're back to you.
I like that. Okay, my dancer name is Chakra Tease. because of the chakras. I do all this, stuff around that and tease because
Yeah.
I'm a flirt and because Socrates is my favorite philosopher. And
Yeah.
in law school, they teach using the Socratic method. My tagline is the sexy, flexy goddess of Zen. So when I feel sexiest, I am embodying being the sexy, flexy goddess of Zen. I am a dancer. I'm really flexible. I love doing, the yoga, the headstands, the arm balances, wrapping my leg around. So my favorite thing is like the cage outfits because it's just the mesh of cage and it's all elastic. So I can do the splits. I can go upside down. I can do camel. I can, do all of this stuff and my movement is not inhibited. Because that's for me, I don't want to be inhibited. I don't want to be inhibited in thought, in word, in movements. So cages just look hot.
I don't know what cages are, by the way. I don't know what those are.
It's just like a strappy thing. It'll be like, a strap and then it goes around and then it's like a mesh on your belly. And then it's like crisscross down your legs and
sweet.
Body cages. Yeah.
But it's wrapped on the body. There's no space between the cage and the body. It's a bit like a net.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about fishnets.
Yeah.
But really wide, so it's like the bands are thick around. I just love that.
And is there any nudity in your shows?
Burlesque is not, you cannot have nudity in burlesque.
Okay.
You always, it's pasties to a G-string, and some places don't even let you have a G-string. Some places make you have, a more full covered bottom.
What are pasties, by the way?
Pasties are just the little nipple covers with the tassels.
Okay.
You can.
Yeah. Okay, but that would be part of the burlesque show.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see how I haven't been to a burlesque show. Let's make that like I'm.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so much fun, and women love it. Women absolutely love it. There's usually more women in the audience than men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I photographed, in fact, a woman that practices law in the Netherlands. And she's also burlesque, but it's part-time. And I remember she came for her LinkedIn picture, but then I told her to bring something playful and she revealed, yeah, I also do burlesque. So I had her outside in the canal, sitting legs wide open on a glass chair, and all these people were cycling and everyone was very happy to witness this woman.
I love that. I love that. And things like that, the witnessing, when you're willingly there in its beauty, bodies are beautiful. All bodies are beautiful. Heavy, thin, pregnant, flabby, whatever. All bodies are beautiful in their own way as long as you're owning it and are willingly do it. And I think that's what's so wonderful about burlesque. I'm choosing what I show and when. You're not telling me, what to do. I am creating a response in you, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's enjoyable. And I'm doing it because I choose to.
Are there any male burlesques?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
After 7 more kilos, maybe I'll think about it. As you speak, it also reminds we're in Amsterdam and we've got the red light district here.
Right.
And there's and it's interesting because there's a one guest who I've been trying to get onto the show. She works at the Prostitution Information Center. She was once working as a sex worker because they don't call it prostitution, they call it sex work and so on. And it's all nuanced nowadays. You can't say anything without offending someone. But the whole thing that I hear is that to some degree, as I hear you speak, I hear her speak, and in terms of it's my right, it's my body. I feel that I get to choose what I want to do and how I want to do it. And it served me and I enjoyed doing it for the period I did it. So don't shame me. Don't tell me this is a bad profession. I'm serving a greater good. If you actually really looked and asked yourself, who am I helping through whatever it is they are being challenged with? So in some interesting way, there's no association between what you do and what they're doing, obviously, but I mean, the freedom of it is what I'm hearing in both those. Mm-hmm. Like it's I get to live my life and you don't get to judge me for it. Yeah.
Yes. And for me, it's a deeper level too, that I get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because we're told we have to be a certain way, to have to be a certain size. We have to have our hair a certain way. We have to, whatever it is, or you can't enjoy it because you're not good enough. And I'm like, no, I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
As Braveheart says, freedom.
That's
Yes,
what Bambos does in the most inappropriate places. He like runs out up on top of a hill and shouts freedom, and then everyone looks at us, and I'm like, oh man, I'm running for the hills.
He gets really uncomfortable.
We've gone over our time. Do you have any questions or do you have anything? It would be nice. We always when we're clever, we always ask our guests, are there places that people can go to find out more, or to sign up for courses, or to get
I already
information?
put your Instagram on the comments.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Where would people go?
A couple of different places. If you have experienced a betrayal, go to Naked Self-Worth. Woohoo, nakedselfworth.com, and you can download a betrayal recovery guide. You can also just learn more about me at loracheadle.com. But the hang up there is it's Lora, and so many people don't know how to spell Lora, LoraCheadle.com. But even if you go to nakedselfworth.com, you can find me eventually.
Or you can go to Socrates, and that'll also. I'm also very fond of Socrates.
Yes.
In fact, he is somebody who I think if we understood his philosophy better, we would have far less problems in the world today, because we would sit in the question and not try to argue that we think we know what the answers are. That would be a very nice way to see the world. He's featured in the new book quite extensively. So
really? Oh, I can't wait.
It's more of a communications book. I don't write guidebooks of how to do anything, because I believe if you share your experience, other people will resonate with it, and through that, they'll be able to figure out their own paths. But I have a large group of people who've been very frustrated that I haven't broken it down into easier ways to understand how they might adopt it into their lives, which is why I started to write the next, or what, not why, it started to come naturally, and therefore it's found its own way into the world.
In Andy's words, he felt compelled.
I felt compelled. I don't do much until I feel compelled. I sit around and eat Cheetos until then.
That works fine.
He doesn't. He really doesn't.
2020, there were a lot of, I don't know if they were Cheetos. There certainly were Doritos. There are Doritos that went far too many down this gullet.
And now he does intermittent fasting, and he walks like 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yep.
He walks into corners of Amsterdam where I don't even know.
No, I discover new things each day, and I find that that's been a very wonderful, like a rediscovery of a place you think you know, only by allowing yourself to turn down corners that you say, I haven't gone down that corner before. What can I discover there? And that's been pretty much my 2 months.
So his Instagram account is full of pictures, like people like, can you please stop spamming? You're posting like 50 images every day.
Yes,
I love that.
I've had exactly the don't enjoy your life this much.
Exactly. You're like, forget that. I'm going to enjoy it.
Exactly. I one person who said it to me, I kind of had a chuckle, and I said, so can I take away from this message that you're really enjoying it, seeing how much I'm enjoying life?
Yep.
No, we didn't have any more contact. They were an Austrian. Austrians have a little bit of way of wanting to dampen any joy that they might experience.
And if there's any Austrians out there watching this,
please take offense. Please take offense.
I've
I've offended this week the Germans, the French. We had the offense.
The Americans.
The American. Anywhere, hey, I'm okay. It's all good.
You haven't said anything bad about Cypriots.
Cypriots, I can do that. Cypriots, I've seen the male machismo of the Cypriots. We can deal with that on another show. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. You were kind to me. Hey.
And we're gonna do this tomorrow, this show. And where are we gonna do it, Lora?
She doesn't know what we're doing.
I don't know what you're doing tomorrow.
Usually we say goodbye to the guest Bambos, and then we do this.
But I can just make it up.
Bambos doesn't want to do a recap of the thing. We're going to say goodbye to you, and then we're going to do our recap. But thank you, Bambos, for creating a little bit of confusion. Thank you very much. Yes.
Bye.
All the best. Oh, man.
I wanted to actually confuse you, but it didn't work.
I was going to say that at the guest expense. Yeah.
Oh, that was a spiritual, emotional,
trip.
Physical.
I love when we take a trip and my mind gets twisted in a wholly different way. So obviously it was nice to get into the burlesque and that life and the shift. But when Laura came forward and shared the situation with the betrayal, for me it was like a massive curveball in terms of like feeling compassion for that much, like what one would have to endure to say I've been in a relationship for 15 years, not knowing what relationship I was in. I mean, your whole world has to. How do you make sense of anything? Everything you thought was true, you have to ask, what is it?
And also manage other people's projections.
Yeah. When she said, of course, now I can't even share it because I'll be the one that's now twisted into the reason why it happened. That was mind numbing. So yeah, there was a lot of things that came up for me listening to that. That was really beautiful. Beautiful. It was intense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice dancing with you, Andy Shaleff.
Nice dancing with you. Send you a hug. All of you people who are still with us, we love you.
See you tomorrow.
On a
and so much more.
Der
Chaos.
K
Chaos.
us
Chaos.
us
Chaos.
us.
Us.